the beating heart of the earth. Imagine a place where life is so abundant that every inch of space is claimed, where trees tower hundreds of feet into the air, and their roots stretch just as deep, where the air itself feels alive, thick with moisture, and the calls of 1,000 creatures. This is the jungle, the beating heart of the earth. Jungles are more than just forests. They're ecosystems of staggering complexity. They produce a significant portion of the oxygen we breathe. They store vast amounts of carbon, helping to regulate the global climate, and they're home to more species than almost anywhere else on the planet. When you think of a jungle, you might picture dense vegetation, vines hanging from trees, the sounds of howler monkeys and tropical birds. And you'd be right, but jungles are also quiet places, places of decay and rebirth, where every fallen leaf becomes food for something new. The jungle is a cycle, life and death intertwined, growth and decay happening simultaneously. It's chaotic and ordered, wild and balanced, and it's essential. The beating heart of the earth pulses in these green places, and tonight we'll explore why. The definition of a jungle. What exactly is a jungle? The term is often used loosely, sometimes interchangeably with rainforest, but there are distinctions. A jungle, in the strictest sense, refers to the dense undergrowth of a tropical forest, the tangled mass of vegetation at ground level, the vines, shrubs, and small trees that grow where light penetrates. This typically happens near rivers, forest edges, or in areas where the canopy has been disturbed. The definition of a jungle emphasizes density, impenetrability. It's the thick, almost impassable vegetation that early explorers struggled through. In contrast, the interior of a mature rainforest, beneath a closed canopy, can be relatively open. The canopy blocks so much light that little grows on the forest floor. So in a sense, jungles are the wilder, more chaotic parts of tropical forests, the areas where light reaches the ground and competition is fierce. But in common usage, jungle often refers to any tropical forest, dense, hot, humid, and teeming with life. And that's how we'll use it tonight, as a term for the lush, vibrant forests of the tropics, places where nature grows with abandon. The difference between jungle and rainforest. Let's clarify the distinction. A rainforest is a forest that receives a lot of rain, typically more than 2,000 millimeters per year. It has a closed canopy and multiple layers of vegetation. It's a structural and ecological classification. A jungle, on the other hand, refers specifically to the dense, tangled undergrowth. It's about accessibility and vegetation density. Not all parts of a rainforest are jungle. In fact, much of the rainforest interior is relatively open at ground level. The difference between jungle and rainforest is subtle, but it matters. When explorers spoke of hacking through the jungle, they were referring to the dense undergrowth, not the open understory beneath a mature canopy. However, in popular culture, the terms have merged, and for our purposes tonight, we'll embrace both meanings: the towering rainforests with their layered ecosystems, and the tangled, impenetrable jungles that capture our imagination. Together, they form the green lungs of our planet, and they deserve our attention and respect. The birthplace of endless life. Jungles are the most biodiverse places on Earth. A single hectare of rainforest can contain more tree species than all of North America. The creatures that live there number in the millions, most of them insects, many still undiscovered. The birthplace of endless life is an apt description. Jungles have been evolving for millions of years, in stable, warm, wet conditions. This has allowed incredible diversification, specialization, and the development of intricate relationships between species. Every niche is filled. Every resource is used. There are trees that fruit at different times, flowers that bloom for different pollinators, predators adapted to hunt in darkness or in treetops, and prey with camouflage so perfect they seem to vanish. The diversity is staggering, And it's not just about numbers, it's about complexity, the web of interactions, the dependencies, the symbioses. Remove one species, and the ripple effects can spread throughout the ecosystem. The birthplace of endless life is also fragile. Despite its appearance of abundance and resilience, the jungle's complexity makes it vulnerable. And that's something we must remember. The humidity that shapes everything. Step into a jungle, and you'll feel it immediately. The humidity. The air is thick, heavy. It clings to your skin. Within minutes, you're drenched in sweat. The humidity that shapes everything is a defining characteristic of jungles. It's created by the constant evaporation of water from leaves, soil, and rivers, and by the rain that falls regularly, sometimes daily. Humidity affects every aspect of jungle life. It allows certain plants to thrive. Epiphytes, plants that grow on other plants, can absorb moisture directly from the air. Mosses and ferns flourish, and animals have adapted too. Amphibians, which need moisture to prevent their skin from drying out, are abundant. Insects thrive in the damp conditions, and even some mammals have developed behaviors to cope with the heat and moisture. The humidity also slows decomposition in some ways, but accelerates it in others. Fungi and bacteria flourish. Dead plant matter breaks down quickly, and the nutrients are rapidly recycled back into the ecosystem. The humidity shapes the very character of the jungle. It's why the jungle feels so alive, so vibrant, so different from anywhere else on Earth. The canopy that touches the sky. Look up in a jungle, and you'll see a ceiling of green. The canopy, a dense layer of leaves and branches, often 100 feet or more above the ground. The canopy that touches the sky is where most of the jungle's life resides. It's a world unto itself. Up there, in the treetops, the sun shines brightly. The air is warmer and drier than below, and the competition for light is intense. Trees spread their branches wide, trying to capture as much sunlight as possible. The canopy is home to countless species. Birds nest there. Monkeys leap from branch to branch. Insects crawl over leaves, and epiphytes cling to the bark. It's a bustling, vibrant place, but it's also difficult to study. For centuries, scientists could only observe the canopy from below. Now, with canopy walkways, cranes, and drones, we're beginning to explore this hidden world. What we've found is astonishing. New species, complex interactions, and ecosystems that are still poorly understood. The canopy that touches the sky is a frontier, a place of discovery, and a reminder that the jungle still holds many secrets. The layers of life below the leaves. The jungle is not one ecosystem, but many, stacked on top of each other. Below the canopy, there's the understory, a dimmer, more sheltered layer. Small trees, shrubs, and young saplings grow here, waiting for their chance to reach the light. The layers of life below the leaves are distinct, each with its own microclimate, its own community of species. In the understory, light is scarce. Only about 5% of the sunlight that hits the canopy reaches this level. Plants here have adapted large, broad leaves to capture what little light there is. Some even move their leaves to track the sun. Animals in the understory are different too. They're often smaller, more secretive. Lizards, snakes, and small mammals navigate the branches. Birds flit through the shadows, and insects are everywhere. Below the understory is the shrub layer, even darker, even more sheltered. And finally, the forest floor, the lowest layer, where almost no light penetrates. Each layer is interconnected. Seeds fall from the canopy. Animals move between layers, and nutrients cycle through all of them. The layers of life are a testament to the jungle's complexity. The forest floor that never sees the sun. At the very bottom, beneath all the layers, lies the forest floor. It's dim, almost dark. Even during the day, it feels like twilight. The forest floor that never sees the sun is a world of decay and rebirth. The ground is covered in fallen leaves, twigs, branches, and the occasional fallen tree. This is the detritus of the jungle, and it's teeming with life. Decomposers. Fungi spread their mycelium through the soil. Bacteria break down organic matter. Insects burrow and feed. And larger creatures, like rodents and ground-dwelling birds, search for food. The soil itself is often surprisingly poor. Nutrients are quickly absorbed by plants, and what remains is washed away by rain. This is why the jungle, despite its appearance of abundance, is actually quite fragile. The nutrients are locked up in the living biomass. In the trees, the plants, the animals, remove the forest, and the soil can't sustain agriculture for long. The forest floor is dark, but it's not lifeless. It's the foundation of the jungle, the place where everything returns and where the cycle begins again. The web of plants and creatures. In the jungle, nothing exists in isolation. Every plant, every animal, every microbe is connected. The web of plants and creatures is intricate, almost unimaginably so. Consider a single tree. It provides shelter for birds, food for insects, surfaces for epiphytes to grow on. Its roots are entwined with fungi, forming mycorrhizal networks that help the tree absorb nutrients, and in return, the tree provides the fungi with sugars. Insects pollinate the tree's flowers. Birds and bats disperse its seeds, and when the tree dies, decomposers break it down, returning nutrients to the soil. Every species depends on others. Predators rely on prey rely on plants, and plants rely on pollinators, seed dispersers, and the nutrient-cycling organisms in the soil. The web is so complex that we're still discovering new connections, new relationships. The jungle teaches us that life is interconnected, that we can't understand one species without understanding the ecosystem, and that every thread in the web matters. Pull one, and the whole structure trembles. The sounds of a living world. Close your eyes in a jungle and listen. The sounds are overwhelming, a cacophony of life, chirps, calls, buzzes, and rustles. The sounds of a living world fill the air from dawn to dusk and beyond. During the day, birds call from the canopy. Insects hum and click. Monkeys howl, and the wind rustles through leaves. It's a constant background noise, a reminder that the jungle is never still. At night, the sounds change. The insects grow louder. Frogs begin their chorus. Nocturnal birds call out, and the occasional roar or scream from a predator or prey breaks the steady hum. The sounds are communication, territory markers, mating calls, warnings. Each species has its own language, and the jungle is a symphony of overlapping conversations. For humans, the sounds can be disorienting. It's difficult to pinpoint where a call is coming from. The acoustics of the jungle, with its dense vegetation, scatter and distort sound. But for the creatures that live there, the sounds are essential. They navigate by them, find mates, avoid predators, and claim their place in the endless living world. The dawn chorus in the tropics. Just before sunrise, the jungle comes alive with sound. The dawn chorus in the tropics is one of nature's great performances. Birds begin to sing, one by one, then all together. Their calls overlap and intertwine. It's a celebration of the new day. The dawn chorus serves multiple purposes. Males are advertising their territories, declaring their presence, and attracting mates. The timing is crucial. Dawn is when sound travels best. The air is still, and the chorus ensures that every bird's call is heard. But it's not just birds. Howler monkeys add their deep guttural roars. Insects begin their buzzing, and the jungle wakes. The chorus lasts for an hour or so, and then it fades. The day's activities take over. The search for food, the avoidance of predators, the endless cycle of life. But for that brief window at dawn, the jungle sings. It's a reminder that each day begins anew, that life persists, and that the jungle, for all its harshness, is also a place of beauty, of sound, and of endless vibrant energy. The rain that never truly stops. In the jungle, rain is a constant. It might not rain every moment, but it feels like it could. The air is always heavy with moisture, and showers arrive with regularity. The rain that never truly stops is what defines these forests. Without it, they wouldn't exist. The rain comes from the evaporation of water from the forest itself. Trees release water through their leaves in a process called transpiration. This water vapor rises, cools, and forms clouds, and those clouds bring rain. It's a self-sustaining cycle. The jungle creates its own rain, and the rain sustains the jungle. The rains can be gentle, a soft patter on the leaves, or they can be torrential, heavy downpours that turn the forest floor into a stream. The sound of rain in the jungle is soothing, a constant white noise, but it's also a reminder of the forest's power. The rain washes nutrients into the soil, it fills rivers, and it keeps the cycle of life turning. Without the rain, the jungle would wither, the trees would die, and the entire ecosystem would collapse. The rain that never truly stops is the jungle's lifeblood, the warmth that fuels growth. Jungles are hot. Temperatures hover around 25 to 30 degrees Celsius year-round. There's little seasonal variation, just constant warmth. The warmth that fuels growth is essential. It accelerates biological processes. Plants photosynthesize more efficiently. Insects breed faster, and decomposition happens rapidly. In temperate forests, growth slows in winter. Trees lose their leaves. Animals hibernate. But in the jungle, there's no winter. Growth is continuous. This constant warmth, combined with abundant water, creates the perfect conditions for life, and life responds. It grows, it reproduces, it fills every available space. But the warmth also brings challenges. For animals, staying cool is a constant struggle. Many are nocturnal, avoiding the heat of the day. Others have developed ways to regulate their temperature. Large ears to dissipate heat, behaviors like wallowing in mud, or simply staying in the shade. For plants, the warmth means competition. Grow fast or be overtaken. Reach the light or die in the shadows. The warmth that fuels growth is both a blessing and a challenge. It drives the jungle's incredible productivity, but it also intensifies the struggle for survival. The cycle of life and decay. In the jungle, life and death are intertwined. A tree falls, creating a gap in the canopy. Sunlight floods in, and within days, new growth begins. Seedlings that have been waiting in the shade suddenly have their chance. The cycle of life and decay is constant, and it's fast. Fallen leaves decompose within weeks. Dead animals are consumed by scavengers, then broken down by insects and microbes. And within months, there's no trace left. Everything is recycled. Nutrients are absorbed by fungi and bacteria. They're released into the soil, and they're taken up by plant roots. The cycle is so efficient that the soil itself remains relatively poor. All the nutrients are in use, locked up in living organisms. This rapid recycling is why the jungle is so productive. Nutrients don't sit idle. They're constantly flowing through the ecosystem, from plant to animal to decomposer, and back to plant again. The cycle of life and decay is beautiful in its efficiency. It's a reminder that nothing is wasted, that death feeds life, and that the jungle is in every sense alive. The trees that compete for light. In the jungle, light is the most precious resource, and trees will do anything to get it. The trees that compete for light grow tall, incredibly tall. Some reach heights of 60 meters or more. Their trunks are slender, their branches concentrated at the top. There's no point spreading out lower down. The light is above, competition is fierce. Saplings grow quickly when a gap appears in the canopy. They race upward, trying to outpace their neighbors. And the winners take all. They spread their canopy wide, and they block the light from reaching those below. The losers die, starved of sunlight. Some trees have evolved strategies to cope. They grow slowly, waiting in the understory for decades. When a gap appears, they accelerate. Others produce seeds that can remain dormant for years, waiting for the right conditions. The competition for light shapes the jungle's structure. It creates the towering canopy, the layered ecosystem, and the constant churn of growth and death. The trees that compete for light are striving for one thing: survival. And in the jungle, that means reaching the sun. The vines that climb toward the sun. Not all plants grow from the ground up. Some take shortcuts. The vines that climb toward the sun use other plants as support. They wrap around tree trunks. They drape from branches, and they grow upward without needing to invest in thick, supportive trunks. Vines, or lianas, are common in jungles. They can grow hundreds of feet long, and they're incredibly strong. Some are thick as a person's arm. Others are thin and delicate, but all share the same strategy: use the trees to reach the light. For the trees, vines are a burden. They add weight, they can smother leaves, and they compete for light and nutrients. But the vines are persistent. Some vines produce flowers high in the canopy, where pollinators are abundant. Others drop their fruits to the forest floor, where animals disperse the seeds. The vines that climb toward the sun are opportunists. They exploit the tree's hard work, but they're also part of the jungle's diversity. They add another layer of complexity, another strategy for survival. And they remind us that in the jungle, life finds a way, no matter how crowded, no matter how competitive. The roots that breathe air. In the waterlogged soils of some jungles, roots face a problem. There's not enough oxygen underground, so some trees have adapted. The roots that breathe air grow upward. They emerge from the soil or water, and they have special pores that allow gas exchange. These are called pneumatophores, and they're common in mangrove forests and swampy jungles. The roots grow vertically, like little snorkels. Some are small, just a few inches tall. Others grow several feet. They're covered in lenticels, openings that allow oxygen to diffuse into the root system. The roots that breathe air are a clever adaptation. They allow trees to survive in conditions that would suffocate most plants, and they create unique landscapes. Forests where the ground is dotted with root spikes, where walking is treacherous, and where the boundary between land and water blurs. These roots are also ecologically important. They stabilize the soil, they provide habitat for small creatures, and they slow water flow, reducing erosion. The roots that breathe air are a testament to nature's ingenuity, a solution to a problem, and a reminder that life adapts. The epiphytes that live on other plants. In the jungle, not all plants grow in the soil. Some live on other plants. The epiphytes that live on other plants cling to branches and trunks. They absorb moisture from the air, and they photosynthesize like any other plant, but they never touch the ground. Epiphytes include orchids, bromeliads, ferns, and mosses. They're incredibly diverse, and they're everywhere in the jungle canopy. Some have specialized roots that grip bark. Others form cups that collect rainwater, and many have adaptations to survive the dry periods between rains. Epiphytes are not parasites. They don't harm their host. They simply use the tree as a platform, a way to reach the light without investing in a trunk. But they do add weight, and in some cases, they can become so abundant that branches break. The epiphytes that live on other plants add another layer to the jungle's complexity. They create microhabitats. Small pools of water in bromeliad leaves become homes for insects, frogs, and even small fish. They're ecosystems within ecosystems, and they remind us that in the jungle, every surface is an opportunity. The moss that covers every surface. In the dampest parts of the jungle, moss is everywhere. It covers tree trunks. It drapes from branches. It carpets the ground. The moss that covers every surface thrives in the humidity. Mosses are simple plants. They don't have true roots, stems, or leaves, just small structures that absorb water and nutrients directly from the air. And in the jungle, the air is full of both. Moss plays a role in the ecosystem. It retains moisture, creating a buffer against dry periods. It provides habitat for tiny invertebrates, and it slowly breaks down the bark it grows on, contributing to nutrient cycling. But moss is also a sign of the jungle's health. It only grows where the air is clean and humid, where the canopy is intact, and where the ecosystem is functioning. The moss that covers every surface is beautiful. It softens the harsh lines of bark and branches. It adds texture and color, and it's a reminder that in the jungle, life doesn't just fill space, it overflows. It covers, it envelops, until everything is green. The constant struggle for space. In the jungle, space is limited. Every square inch is claimed. The constant struggle for space drives evolution. It creates adaptations, and it shapes the ecosystem. Plants compete for light, water, and nutrients. Animals compete for food, mates, and territory. And even microbes compete for resources in the soil. The struggle is intense, and it's unrelenting. Some plants develop chemical defenses to prevent others from growing nearby. Some animals are territorial, driving away competitors, and some species form alliances, cooperating to survive. The constant struggle for space is what creates the jungle's incredible diversity. When resources are limited, specialization is rewarded. Species evolve to exploit specific niches, to use resources that others can't, and the result is a community of thousands of species, each with its own role. But the struggle also creates fragility. If one species is removed, others that depended on it may suffer, and the ripples can spread. The jungle is a balance, a dynamic equilibrium, and the struggle for space is what maintains it. The ants that rule the jungle. If any creature could be said to rule the jungle, it's the ants. They're everywhere, on every tree, under every leaf, in the soil. The ants that rule the jungle are incredibly diverse. There are thousands of species, and they fill countless roles. Some ants are farmers. They cultivate fungi in underground chambers, feeding it with leaves they harvest. Others are hunters. They form raiding parties that overwhelm much larger prey. And some are herders. They tend to aphids and other insects, protecting them in exchange for honeydew. Ants are social. They live in colonies that can number in the millions, and they're organized. Each ant has a role: workers, soldiers, queens, and they coordinate through chemical signals. Ants are also powerful. A column of army ants can clear an area of insects and small animals. Their sheer numbers are overwhelming, and they're feared even by large creatures. The ants that rule the jungle are ecosystem engineers. They aerate the soil, they disperse seeds, and they recycle nutrients. They're small, but their impact is enormous. And they remind us that power doesn't always come from size. The termite mounds of engineers. Termites are often thought of as pests, but in the jungle, they're engineers. The termite mounds of engineers are architectural marvels. Some rise several meters high, and they're built from soil, saliva, and feces. Termites, like ants, are social insects. They live in colonies, and they have castes: workers, soldiers, and reproductives. The workers build and maintain the mound. They excavate tunnels. They tend to the fungus gardens, and they care for the young. The mound itself is a complex structure. It's ventilated. Air flows through channels, keeping the interior cool and oxygenated. It's a feat of engineering that rivals anything humans have built. Termites feed on dead wood. They're decomposers, and they play a crucial role in nutrient cycling. Without termites, dead trees would accumulate, nutrients would be locked up, and the jungle would be a very different place. The termite mounds of engineers are more than just homes. They're hubs of activity. They attract predators. They provide habitat for other species, and they shape the landscape. Termites are small. but their impact is profound. The mosquito, tiny but mighty. No discussion of the jungle would be complete without mentioning mosquitoes. They're tiny, but they're everywhere. The mosquito, tiny but mighty, is one of the jungle's most notorious inhabitants. Mosquitoes are blood feeders. Females need blood to produce eggs, and they're not picky about their hosts. They bite mammals, birds, reptiles, and they transmit diseases. Malaria, dengue fever, yellow fever. In the jungle, mosquitoes are a constant presence. They swarm at dusk, they whine in your ear at night, and they leave itchy welts that last for days. But mosquitoes are also part of the ecosystem. They're food for bats, birds, and frogs, and their larvae are food for fish and other aquatic creatures. Without mosquitoes, the food web would collapse. The mosquito, tiny but mighty, reminds us that even the smallest creatures have a role, and that the jungle is not just a place of beauty, it's also a place of challenge, of discomfort, and of survival. For humans, the mosquito is a nuisance, but for the jungle, it's essential. The predators, hidden in the green. The jungle is full of predators, but you might never see them. They're masters of camouflage, silent, patient. The predators hidden in the green are everywhere. Jaguars stalk the forest floor, pythons drape from branches, and harpy eagles scan the canopy from above. Each is perfectly adapted to hunt in the jungle. The dense vegetation provides cover. The sounds of the jungle mask their approach, and the prey, distracted by the constant need to find food, are vulnerable. Predators are apex species. They're at the top of the food chain, and they play a crucial role in regulating prey populations. Without predators, herbivores would overgraze, plants would suffer, and the ecosystem would collapse. But predators are also vulnerable. They need large territories, abundant prey, and intact habitats. When jungles are fragmented, predators are often the first to disappear. The predators hidden in the green are a sign of a healthy jungle. Their presence means the ecosystem is functioning, and their absence is a warning. The stealth of the jaguar. Among the jungle's predators, the jaguar stands out. It's powerful, beautiful, and elusive. The stealth of the jaguar is legendary. Jaguars are solitary cats. They roam large territories, and they hunt everything from deer to caimans. Their bite is the strongest of any big cat. They can crush skulls and pierce turtle shells. But what makes the jaguar truly formidable is its stealth. It moves silently. Its spotted coat blends into the dappled light of the jungle, and it stalks its prey with patience. A jaguar can wait for hours, waiting for the perfect moment, and when it strikes, it's fast and decisive. Jaguars are also excellent swimmers. They hunt in rivers and swamps, and they're one of the few cats that seem to enjoy water. The stealth of the jaguar is a reminder of the jungle's danger. It's a place where predators lurk, where survival requires constant vigilance, and where the line between life and death is thin. The jaguar is a symbol of the jungle, wild, powerful, and untamed. The silent stalk of the python. Snakes are common in the jungle, but few are as impressive as the python. The silent stalk of the python is a study in patience. Pythons are constrictors. They don't use venom. Instead, they wrap around their prey, and they squeeze. Each time the prey exhales, the python tightens. Eventually, the prey suffocates. Pythons hunt by ambush. They lie motionless for days, camouflaged against the forest floor or draped over a branch. When prey approaches, the python strikes, fast. Then the coils wrap. Pythons can eat prey much larger than their head. Their jaws unhinge, and they swallow their meal whole. After a large meal, a python can go weeks or even months without eating. The silent stalk of the python is eerie. There's no sound, no warning, just the sudden strike, and then it's over. Pythons are not aggressive toward humans. They'll avoid confrontation if possible, but they're a reminder that the jungle is full of hidden dangers, and that silence can be more deadly than sound. The camouflage of the tree frog. In the jungle, being seen can be fatal. So many creatures have evolved camouflage. The camouflage of the tree frog is a perfect example. Tree frogs are small, delicate, and incredibly well hidden. Their skin matches the color of leaves. Some are bright green, others are brown or gray, and some can even change color to match their surroundings. The camouflage is so effective that you can stare right at a tree frog and not see it. It blends seamlessly into the foliage. Only when it moves do you notice. Tree frogs also have adaptations for gripping. Their toes have sticky pads. This allows them to cling to leaves and branches, even upside down, and they're excellent jumpers. The camouflage of the tree frog is a survival strategy. It protects them from predators. Birds, snakes, spiders, all would happily eat a frog, but if they can't see it, they can't catch it. The tree frog's camouflage is also beautiful. It's a testament to evolution, to the endless process of adaptation, and to the fact that in the jungle, survival often means disappearing. The glowing eyes of the night. At night, the jungle transforms, the diurnal creatures retreat, and the nocturnal ones emerge. The glowing eyes of the night are everywhere. Shine a flashlight into the darkness, and you'll see them, reflective eyes staring back. It's eerie, and a reminder that the jungle never sleeps. The glow comes from the tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer behind the retina. It helps animals see in low light by reflecting light back through the retina. Many jungle animals have this adaptation. Cats, possums, spiders, even some frogs. The glowing eyes are often the only sign of their presence. They move silently, hunting, foraging, navigating the darkness. At night, the jungle feels different. The sounds change, the air cools slightly, and the sense of being watched is overwhelming. The glowing eyes of the night are a reminder that humans are not the jungle's masters. We're visitors, and at night, we're vulnerable. The jungle belongs to those with eyes that glow, to the creatures of darkness, and to the ancient rhythms of nocturnal life. The birds that paint the sky. The jungle is home to some of the most colorful birds on Earth. Parrots, toucans, hummingbirds. The birds that paint the sky bring splashes of color to the green canopy. Birds play many roles in the jungle. They're pollinators, seed dispersers, predators, and prey. And they're everywhere, in the canopy, in the understory. On the forest floor, their songs and calls fill the air. Each species has its own voice, and the combined chorus is one of the jungle's defining sounds. Birds are also indicators of ecosystem health. A diverse bird community suggests a healthy forest, and when bird populations decline, it's often a sign of trouble. The birds that paint the sky are more than just beautiful. They're essential. They connect different parts of the ecosystem. They move nutrients. They control insect populations, and they inspire awe. Watching a flock of parrots fly overhead, or seeing a toucan perched on a branch. These moments remind us why we need to protect the jungle, for the birds, for the beauty, and for ourselves. The parrots with 1,000 colors. Parrots are iconic jungle birds. They're intelligent, social, and stunningly colorful. The parrots with 1,000 colors range from small parakeets to large macaws, and they're all beautiful. Parrots feed on fruits, nuts, and seeds. Their strong beaks can crack even the toughest shells, and they're important seed dispersers. Many jungle trees rely on parrots to spread their seeds. Parrots are also loud. Their calls carry through the forest. They use vocalizations to communicate with their flock, to warn of predators, and to coordinate movements. Some parrot species are highly social. They gather in large flocks. Others are more solitary, but all are tied to the health of the forest. When forests are cut down, Parrot populations decline. They lose their food sources, their nesting sites, and their habitat. The parrots with 1,000 colors are a symbol of the jungle's beauty, but they're also a reminder of its fragility. Protect the forest, and the parrots thrive. Destroy it, and they vanish, along with so much else. The harpy eagle, the sky's hunter. At the top of the avian food chain sits the harpy eagle. The harpy eagle, the sky's hunter, is one of the most powerful raptors on Earth. It's massive, with a wingspan of over 2 meters and talons the size of a bear's claws. Harpy eagles hunt in the canopy. They prey on monkeys, sloths, and large birds. Their strength is astonishing. They can snatch a monkey from a branch mid-leap and carry it off without slowing. The harpy eagle's hunting strategy is stealth. It perches silently, watching, waiting, and when it spots prey, it strikes with incredible speed, weaving through branches and vines. Its agility is remarkable for such a large bird. Harpy eagles are solitary. They mate for life, and they nest in the tallest trees, raising one chick every few years. The slow reproduction rate makes them vulnerable to habitat loss. The harpy eagle, the sky's hunter, is rare. Seeing one is a privilege, and it's a sign that the jungle is intact, that the ecosystem is healthy, that the web of life is still functioning. The harpy eagle is also a symbol of power, of wildness, and of the jungle's majesty. It reminds us that nature still has places where apex predators rule, where the ancient rhythms continue, and where humans are merely observers. The hummingbird's endless motion. In stark contrast to the harpy eagle, the hummingbird is tiny, but no less remarkable. The hummingbird's endless motion is mesmerizing. Hummingbirds are the smallest birds on Earth. Some weigh less than a penny, but they're incredibly active. Their wings beat up to 80 times per second, creating a humming sound. They can hover, fly backwards, and even upside down. Hummingbirds feed on nectar. They visit hundreds of flowers each day, and in doing so, they pollinate. They're essential for many jungle plants. Some flowers have evolved specifically to attract hummingbirds. Long, tubular shapes, bright colors, and abundant nectar. The relationship is symbiotic. The flower gets pollinated. The hummingbird gets food. The hummingbird's endless motion requires enormous energy. They have the highest metabolism of any bird, and they must feed constantly. At night, they enter a state called torpor, lowering their body temperature to conserve energy. Hummingbirds are jewels of the jungle, iridescent, delicate, and constantly in motion. They're a reminder that beauty comes in all sizes, and that even the smallest creatures can be vital. The insects that never sleep. Insects dominate the jungle. In numbers and diversity, the insects that never sleep are everywhere, crawling, flying, burrowing. They fill every niche. Beetles, ants, bees, wasps, flies, moths, butterflies. The list is endless. Insects are the foundation of the jungle's food web. They're food for birds, frogs, lizards, and bats. They pollinate flowers. They decompose dead matter, and they shape the ecosystem in countless ways. Some insects are beautiful. Butterflies with wings like stained glass. Beetles that shimmer like jewels. Others are strange. Stick insects that look like twigs. Leaf insects that mimic leaves perfectly. And some are terrifying. Giant centipedes, bullet ants, with stings that cause excruciating pain. But all are important. The insects that never sleep work around the clock, day and night, breaking down, building up, and keeping the jungle alive. Without insects, the jungle would collapse. Plants wouldn't be pollinated, dead matter wouldn't decompose, and the food web would crumble. Insects are small, but they're the jungle's workforce, and they deserve recognition. The butterflies born from rain. After the rain, the jungle comes alive with butterflies. The butterflies born from rain emerge in clouds of color. Some are blue, some are yellow, and some have patterns so intricate they seem painted. Butterflies are pollinators. They visit flowers for nectar, and in the process, they transfer pollen. Many jungle plants depend on butterflies for reproduction. Butterflies also have complex life cycles. They begin as eggs, hatch into caterpillars, and then transform in a chrysalis. The metamorphosis is one of nature's most remarkable processes. The butterflies born from rain are also migrants. Some species travel long distances, following the rains, following the blooms. Their journeys connect different parts of the jungle and different ecosystems. Butterflies are delicate, short-lived, and beautiful. They're a reminder that life in the jungle is both fragile and resilient. That transformation is constant, and that beauty can emerge from the simplest things: rain, leaves, and sunlight. The butterflies are poetry in motion, and the jungle is their canvas. The beetles with armor and shine. Beetles are the most diverse group of animals on Earth, and the jungle is full of them. The beetles with armor and shine come in countless forms. Some are massive: Hercules beetles, Goliath beetles, with horns and thick exoskeletons. Others are tiny, barely visible, but no less complex. Beetles fill many roles. Some are herbivores, feeding on leaves, wood, or flowers. Others are predators, hunting smaller insects. And some are scavengers, cleaning up dead matter. Many beetles are also beautiful. Their exoskeletons shimmer, iridescent greens, blues, golds. The colors are structural, created by microscopic patterns that reflect light. The beetles with armor and shine are also strong. Relative to their size, they're some of the strongest creatures on Earth. Some can lift 850 times their own weight. Beetles are ancient. They've been around for over 300 million years, and they've adapted to nearly every environment. But the jungle, with its warmth and abundance, is where they truly thrive. The beetles are armored warriors, small but mighty, and essential to the jungle's function. The spiders that build giant webs. In the jungle, spiders are architects. The spiders that build giant webs create structures that can span several meters. Some webs are so large, they stretch between trees. Golden orb weavers are among the most impressive. Their silk is golden and incredibly strong, stronger than Kevlar. They build massive webs and wait in the center for prey. Insects fly into the web, stick, and the spider rushes out to wrap them in silk. Spiders are predators. They control insect populations, and they're food for birds and other creatures. The webs themselves are marvels of engineering. Radial threads provide structure. Spiral threads are sticky, and the whole thing can withstand wind and rain. The spiders that build giant webs are patient. They repair damage. They rebuild when necessary, and they wait for hours, for days. The webs glisten in the morning light. They're beautiful, but they're also deadly. For insects, they're traps, and for the spider, they're home, tools, and survival. The jungle's architects work in silk, and their creations are everywhere. The fish that live among roots. The jungle isn't just trees and soil. It's also water, rivers, streams, swamps, and in these waters, there are fish. The fish that live among roots navigate a complex underwater world. Jungle rivers are murky, full of tannins from decaying leaves. Visibility is low, so fish rely on other senses. Lateral lines detect vibrations. Barbels taste and feel, and some species even use electricity. Many fish live among the roots of trees, mangroves, flooded forests. The roots provide shelter from predators and a place to find food. Small invertebrates, algae, detritus. The fish that live among roots are diverse. Some are tiny, others grow large. Arapaima, one of the largest freshwater fish, can reach 3 meters and catfish of various species prowl the bottom. Fish are also food for birds, for caimans, and for people. Indigenous communities rely on fish for protein. The rivers are highways and fishing grounds. The fish that live among roots are part of the jungle's hidden world, beneath the surface, out of sight, but essential. The piranhas and their myth. Few jungle creatures are as infamous as the piranha. The piranhas and their myth have been exaggerated by movies and stories, but the reality is more nuanced. Piranhas are carnivorous fish. They have sharp teeth and powerful jaws, but they're not mindless killing machines. Most piranha species are scavengers. They feed on dead animals or on fish. Some even eat fruit and seeds that fall into the water. Attacks on humans are rare and usually only occur when the fish are cornered or during droughts when food is scarce. Piranhas are social. They swim in groups called shoals. This provides protection from predators and allows them to overwhelm larger prey when necessary. The piranhas and their myth persist, but the truth is less dramatic. They're just fish, adapted to their environment, filling a niche and playing a role in the ecosystem. The myth is more dangerous than the piranha. It distorts our understanding, and it distracts from the real threats to jungle rivers. Pollution, dams, and overfishing. The piranhas deserve respect, not fear. The river that divides and connects. Rivers are arteries of the jungle. The river that divides and connects shapes the landscape. It carves through the land, creating valleys, floodplains, and deltas. Rivers divide. They separate populations, create barriers, and foster divergence. Many species on one side of a river are different from those on the other, but rivers also connect. They're highways for fish, for nutrients, and for people. They provide water, food, and transportation. During the rainy season, rivers flood. They spill over their banks, inundating the forest. This flooding is vital. It deposits nutrients. It allows fish to access floodplain forests, and it recharges wetlands. The river that divides and connects is dynamic. It changes course. It rises and falls, and it shapes the lives of everything around it. Rivers are also threatened. Dams disrupt flow. Pollution degrades water quality, and deforestation increases erosion. Protecting rivers means protecting the jungle. They're inseparable. The river is the jungle's lifeblood, and without it, the forest dies. The Amazon, the lungs of the planet. Among the world's jungles, the Amazon stands out. The Amazon, the lungs of the planet, is the largest rainforest on Earth. It covers 5.5 million square kilometers, spanning 9 countries. The Amazon is home to an estimated 10% of all species on Earth. It produces about 20% of the world's oxygen, and it stores vast amounts of carbon, billions of tons. The Amazon River is the largest by volume. It discharges more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined. The river and its tributaries create a network that sustains the forest. The Amazon, the lungs of the planet, is also threatened. Deforestation, mining, agriculture, all are eating away at the forest. And when the Amazon is destroyed, the consequences are global. Loss of biodiversity, increased carbon emissions, and disruption of rainfall patterns. The Amazon is more than a jungle. It's a global system, and protecting it is essential, not just for the species that live there, but for the entire planet. The Amazon breathes, and we depend on its breath. The Congo Basin, a world within a world. In Africa, the Congo Basin is the second largest rainforest. The Congo Basin, a world within a world, is less known than the Amazon, but no less important. The Congo Basin covers about 3.7 million square kilometers. It's home to forest elephants, gorillas, bonobos, and countless other species. The Congo River winds through the heart of the basin. It's the second largest river by volume, and it's a lifeline for millions of people. The forest itself is dense, humid, and incredibly biodiverse. But it's also under pressure. Logging, mining, and conflict threaten the forest and the people who depend on it. The Congo Basin, a world within a world, is remote. Parts of it are still unexplored. New species are discovered regularly, and there are areas where humans rarely venture. The remoteness has protected the forest, but it also makes conservation challenging. Infrastructure is poor, governance is weak, and monitoring is difficult. Yet the Congo Basin is vital. It regulates regional climate, it stores carbon, and it's home to some of the world's most iconic species. Protecting it requires international cooperation and recognition of its global importance. The jungles of Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is home to some of the oldest rainforests on Earth. The jungles of Southeast Asia are found in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and surrounding countries. These forests are ancient. Some have existed for 70 million years or more. They're incredibly diverse, home to orangutans, tigers, elephants, and countless plants and insects. The jungles of Southeast Asia are also fragmented. Centuries of human settlement, agriculture, and development have broken them into pieces. What remains is under intense pressure. Palm oil plantations, logging, and urbanization threaten the forests and the species that depend on them. Yet these jungles are also resilient. Conservation efforts are growing, protected areas are expanding, and local communities are increasingly involved in preservation. The jungles of Southeast Asia are a test of our ability to balance development with conservation, to protect biodiversity while meeting human needs, and to recognize that the forests are not just resources, they're ecosystems, heritage, and home to countless species. The test is ongoing, and the outcome is uncertain. The islands that hide ancient forests. Scattered across the tropics are islands, small, remote, and often forgotten. The islands that hide ancient forests are jewels of biodiversity. Islands like Borneo, Sumatra, New Guinea, Madagascar. Each is unique. Each has species found nowhere else. Island forests are special, isolated. They evolve independently, and over time, they develop unique assemblages of plants and animals. Madagascar, for example, has lemurs found nowhere else. New Guinea has birds of paradise, with plumage like rainbows. These islands are also fragile. Island ecosystems are sensitive to disturbance. Invasive species can be devastating, and small populations are vulnerable to extinction. The islands that hide ancient forests are treasures, but they're under threat. Logging, agriculture, and development are encroaching, and climate change is altering conditions. Protecting island forests requires special attention. They can't be replaced. Once lost, the species are gone forever. The islands remind us that biodiversity is not evenly distributed. It's concentrated in special places, and those places deserve protection. The mangroves at the edge of the sea. Where the jungle meets the ocean, there are mangroves. The mangroves at the edge of the sea are unique forests. They grow in salt water. Their roots are exposed at low tide, and they're incredibly productive. Mangroves are nurseries. Fish, crabs, shrimp, all begin their lives among the mangrove roots. The roots provide shelter and abundant food. Mangroves also protect coastlines. They buffer storm surges, they prevent erosion, and they filter pollutants. The trees themselves are adapted to harsh conditions. They have special glands that excrete salt and roots that can tolerate waterlogged, low-oxygen soil. The mangroves at the edge of the sea are also threatened. Coastal development, shrimp farming, and pollution have destroyed vast areas. What remains is often fragmented, yet mangroves are being recognized for their value. Conservation and restoration efforts are increasing, and communities are realizing that healthy mangroves mean healthy fisheries. The mangroves bridge two worlds, land and sea, and they're essential to both. Protecting them is protecting the coast and the jungle and the ocean, the swamps that nurture life. Within the jungle, there are swamps, waterlogged areas where the ground is saturated. The swamps that nurture life are rich ecosystems. They're home to unique species. Amphibians thrive here. The constant water is perfect for frogs and salamanders. Insects breed in the pools, and fish navigate the flooded forest floor. Swamps are also important for nutrient cycling. The waterlogged soil slows decomposition. Organic matter accumulates, and when the water recedes, nutrients are released. Birds flock to swamps. Herons, storks, and ducks. They feed on fish and invertebrates, and they nest in the trees above. The swamps that nurture life are also carbon sinks. The accumulated organic matter stores carbon, much like peatlands in temperate regions. Destroying swamps releases that carbon, contributing to climate change. Swamps are often seen as wastelands, places to be drained and developed. But they're ecosystems, valuable and vital, and they deserve protection. The swamps are not empty. They're teeming, and they're essential to the jungle's health. The hidden waterfalls of the tropics. Deep in the jungle, where few venture, there are waterfalls. The hidden waterfalls of the tropics are spectacular. Water cascades over cliffs, creating mist and rainbows. The sound is deafening, and the spray keeps the surrounding vegetation lush. Waterfalls create unique microclimates. The constant moisture allows mosses and ferns to flourish, and the mist cools the air, making the area around a waterfall noticeably cooler than the surrounding jungle. The pools at the base of waterfalls are habitats. Fish live there, amphibians breed, and animals come to drink. Waterfalls are also culturally significant. Many indigenous peoples consider them sacred. They're places of ceremony, of connection to the spiritual world. The hidden waterfalls of the tropics are remote. Reaching them often requires days of hiking through dense forest, but those who make the journey are rewarded with beauty, with solitude, and with a sense of the jungle's power. The waterfalls are hidden, but they're not forgotten, and they remind us that the jungle still holds secrets. The underground networks of roots. Beneath the jungle floor, there's a hidden network. The underground networks of roots connect trees. They intertwine, and they communicate. Recent research has revealed that trees share resources through their roots and through mycorrhizal fungi. The fungi connect root systems, creating a network called the Wood Wide Web. Through this network, trees can share nutrients. Older trees support younger ones. Healthy trees help sick ones, and the forest acts as a community. The underground networks of roots are vital for resilience. They allow the forest to respond to stress, to drought, to disease, and to disturbance. The networks are complex. We're only beginning to understand them, but they're changing how we think about forests. Trees are not just individuals, they're part of a collective. The underground networks remind us that what we see above ground is only part of the story. Below, there's an entire world, connected, cooperative, and essential. The jungle is not just trees, it's a network, and every tree is a node. The fungi that decompose giants. When a tree falls, the fungi move in. The fungi that decompose giants are essential recyclers. They break down wood, they release nutrients, and they make room for new growth. Fungi are everywhere in the jungle, on the forest floor, on decaying logs, and even living inside trees. They're incredibly diverse, from tiny yeasts to massive bracket fungi. Some fungi are colorful, bright reds, yellows, blues. Others are drab, brown or gray, but all play roles. Fungi form partnerships with trees, mycorrhizal associations, where both benefit. The fungi provide nutrients, the tree provides sugars. The fungi that decompose giants are also medicinal. Many antibiotics come from fungi, and indigenous peoples have used jungle fungi for centuries. healing wounds, treating infections, and even inducing spiritual experiences. Fungi are often overlooked. They're not as charismatic as jaguars or parrots, but they're essential. Without fungi, the jungle would choke on its own debris, the cycle would stop, and life would cease. Fungi are the hidden workers, and they deserve recognition. The nutrients that return to the soil. In the jungle, nutrients cycle rapidly. The nutrients that return to the soil come from decomposition, dead leaves, fallen branches, animal waste. All are broken down by fungi, by bacteria, and by insects. The nutrients are released, and plant roots absorb them immediately. The cycle is so efficient that the soil itself is often poor. All the nutrients are in use. In living organisms, this rapid cycling is what allows the jungle to be so productive. Despite poor soil, despite heavy rains that leach nutrients away, the organisms recycle everything. The nutrients that return to the soil don't stay there long. They're taken up by plants within days or weeks, and they're incorporated into new leaves, new roots, new life. The cycle is beautiful, efficient, and fragile. Disrupt it, and the system collapses. Cut down the trees, and the nutrients are lost, washed away by rain. The soil becomes barren, and the jungle cannot return. The nutrients are the currency, and the jungle's economy depends on their rapid circulation. The fragile balance of jungle ecosystems. The jungle appears robust, abundant, resilient, but the fragile balance of jungle ecosystems reveals a different truth. The complexity that makes the jungle productive also makes it vulnerable. Each species depends on others. Each process relies on multiple factors. Remove one element, and the ripple effects can be catastrophic. The fragile balance is maintained by biodiversity, by the multitude of species filling every niche. When species are lost, the ecosystem loses redundancy. It becomes less stable, more vulnerable to disturbance. The balance is also maintained by nutrient cycling, by the rapid turnover of organic matter. Disrupt the cycle, and the jungle suffers. The fragile balance of jungle ecosystems is threatened by human activity. Deforestation, fragmentation, climate change, all stress the system and push it toward tipping points. Once crossed, recovery may be impossible. The jungle is strong, but it's not invincible. It's a balance, delicate and intricate, and it requires protection, not just for the jungle's sake, but for ours, because we're part of the balance too. The oxygen that feeds the planet. Jungles produce oxygen through photosynthesis. Plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. The oxygen that feeds the planet comes, in part, from tropical forests. The Amazon alone produces about 20% of the world's oxygen. That's billions of tons. Every year, oxygen is essential for life. Every breath we take contains oxygen from forests, from jungles, from the green lungs of the earth. But it's not just about oxygen production. Jungles also store carbon in their trees, in their soil, and in their biomass. This carbon storage helps regulate the climate. It keeps carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and it mitigates global warming. The oxygen that feeds the planet is a gift from the jungles. And when we destroy jungles, we're destroying our life support system. We're reducing oxygen production, releasing stored carbon, and destabilizing the climate. The jungles breathe for us, and we depend on their breath. Protecting jungles is protecting ourselves. It's ensuring that future generations have air to breathe and a planet that can sustain life. The carbon storage beneath the leaves. Carbon storage is one of the jungle's most important functions. The carbon storage beneath the leaves is vast. Trees absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. They incorporate the carbon into their wood, their leaves, their roots. And when they die, much of that carbon remains in the soil, in decomposing matter. Tropical forests store about 250 billion tons of carbon. That's equivalent to decades of human emissions. The storage is crucial for climate regulation. It keeps carbon out of the atmosphere, and it prevents warming. But when jungles are cut or burned, the stored carbon is released as carbon dioxide, contributing to climate change. The carbon storage beneath the leaves is also under threat. Deforestation, forest degradation, and climate change itself all reduce the jungle's capacity to store carbon. Protecting jungles is one of the most effective ways to combat climate change. It's not just about trees, it's about the carbon they hold and the stability they provide. The carbon beneath the leaves is a buffer against warming, against chaos, and we ignore it at our peril. The importance of jungle trees for climate. Jungle trees do more than store carbon and produce oxygen. The importance of jungle trees for climate extends to rainfall, temperature regulation, and weather patterns. Trees release water vapor through transpiration. This vapor rises, forms clouds, and creates rain. The jungle essentially creates its own weather, and this affects regions far beyond the forest itself. Jungle trees also cool the planet through evapotranspiration. They release water that cools the air, and they shade the ground, preventing heat absorption. Without jungles, many regions would be hotter, drier, and less habitable. The importance of jungle trees for climate is global. Changes in tropical forests affect rainfall in North America, Europe, and Asia. They influence ocean currents, and they impact weather systems. Jungle trees are planetary regulators. They stabilize the climate, and they provide services that benefit everyone. Cutting down jungle trees doesn't just destroy habitat, it disrupts climate systems, and it threatens global stability. The trees are not just local, they're global, and their importance cannot be overstated. The evaporation that creates rain. In the jungle, water is constantly moving. The evaporation that creates rain is part of a grand cycle. Water evaporates from rivers, from soil, and from the leaves of trees. It rises into the atmosphere, cools, condenses, and falls as rain. This cycle is self-sustaining. The jungle creates the conditions for its own existence. The evaporation is enormous. A single large tree can transpire hundreds of liters of water per day. Multiply that by billions of trees, and you have a water pump of staggering scale. The moisture rises, forms clouds, and those clouds move. They bring rain, not just to the jungle, but to surrounding regions, agricultural areas, cities. The evaporation that creates rain is why deforestation affects rainfall. Remove the trees, and the cycle breaks. Less evaporation, fewer clouds, less rain. The result is drought, not just in the jungle, but in regions that depend on jungle-generated rainfall. The cycle is interconnected, and disrupting it has consequences far beyond the forest. The jungle's water is everyone's water, and protecting the cycle is protecting water security. The global water cycle's engine. Tropical jungles are engines of the global water cycle. The global water cycle's engine pumps moisture into the atmosphere, redistributes it, and creates weather patterns. The Amazon, for example, sends moisture eastward. It contributes to rainfall in the Andes, and even affects rainfall in distant regions. The Congo Basin influences rainfall across Africa, and Southeast Asian forests affect monsoons. The jungles are not isolated. They're connected to global systems, and they play a role far larger than their geographic extent. The global water cycle's engine is powered by solar energy and facilitated by forests. Without jungles, the cycle would be disrupted. Rainfall patterns would shift. Some regions would become wetter, others drier, and the consequences would be felt everywhere. Agriculture, water supplies, ecosystems, all depend on stable rainfall, and that stability is partly provided by jungles. The global water cycle's engine is essential, and we're learning slowly that protecting jungles is not just about biodiversity, it's about water, weather, and the stability of our planet's systems. The storms that begin in the tropics. Many of the world's most powerful storms originate in the tropics. The storms that begin in the tropics are fueled by heat and moisture, both of which jungles provide in abundance. Tropical storms, hurricanes, typhoons, they all begin over warm water, but they're influenced by the moisture and energy from nearby forests. The jungles pump water vapor into the atmosphere. This vapor feeds storm systems, making them larger, more powerful, and more persistent. The storms that begin in the tropics can travel thousands of kilometers, affecting continents far from their origin. They bring rain, sometimes beneficial, sometimes devastating, and they redistribute heat around the planet. Jungles are part of this system. They're not just passive landscapes, they're active participants in the planet's energy and water cycles. Understanding the role of jungles in storm formation is crucial. It helps us predict weather, prepare for disasters, and recognize the interconnectedness of Earth's systems. The storms remind us that the jungle's influence extends far beyond its borders, to the winds, the waves, and the weather we experience every day. The lightning that splits the sky. During tropical storms, lightning is frequent. The lightning that splits the sky is spectacular and dangerous. Lightning in the jungle occurs when ice particles in storm clouds collide, creating electrical charge. When the charge becomes too great, it discharges as lightning. Lightning ignites fires in dry conditions. It can spark wildfires that burn for weeks. But in the wet jungle, fires are usually short-lived. Lightning also plays a role in nutrient cycling. It converts atmospheric nitrogen into forms that plants can use. Each strike adds nitrogen to the soil, fertilizing the forest. The lightning that splits the sky is both destructive and creative. It kills trees, creating gaps where new growth can begin, and it provides a spectacle, a reminder of nature's power. Standing in the jungle during a storm, with lightning flashing, thunder roaring, and rain pounding, it's humbling. The jungle is alive, and it's powerful. And the lightning is a reminder that we're small, fragile, and at the mercy of forces far greater than ourselves. The mist that rises each morning. At dawn, the jungle is often shrouded in mist. The mist that rises each morning is hauntingly beautiful. It forms as the cool night air meets the warm, humid surface. Water vapor condenses, and a white blanket covers the forest. The mist softens everything. It mutes sounds, it blurs shapes, and it creates an otherworldly atmosphere. As the sun rises, the mist begins to lift, slowly, reluctantly. It rises through the canopy and dissipates into the warming air. The mist that rises each morning is part of the water cycle. The moisture will rise higher, form clouds, and eventually return as rain. It's a daily ritual, a reminder of the jungle's rhythms. The mist also affects the forest. It keeps the air humid, it prevents the soil from drying out, and it provides moisture for epiphytes and mosses. The mist is a gift from the jungle to itself, a self-sustaining cycle, and a moment of quiet beauty before the day's heat and activity begin. The creatures of the night. When the sun sets, the jungle transforms. The creatures of the night emerge. Bats take flight, owls begin to hunt, and nocturnal mammals venture out. The jungle at night is a different world. The sounds change. The diurnal chorus of birds is replaced by the calls of frogs, the chirping of crickets, and the occasional roar of a predator. The darkness is profound. Under the canopy, even moonlight struggles to penetrate, and navigating is difficult. The creatures of the night are adapted. They have large eyes, sensitive hearing, and keen senses of smell. Some use echolocation. Bats and certain birds navigate by sound. Others rely on bioluminescence, glowing to attract mates or prey. The creatures of the night are as diverse as those of the day, and they fill the same niches: predators, prey, pollinators, and decomposers. The night is not empty, it's full, and the jungle never sleeps. It simply changes shifts. The glow of bioluminescent life. In the darkness of the jungle night, some creatures glow. The glow of bioluminescent life is magical. Fireflies flash in the understory. Certain fungi glow on decaying logs, and some insects emit a soft, eerie light. Bioluminescence is a chemical reaction. Organisms produce light through the oxidation of a molecule called luciferin. The light is cold, no heat is produced, and it's efficient. Almost all the energy goes into light. Fireflies use their glow to attract mates. Each species has its own flash pattern, a code that only the right partner understands. Glowing fungi may attract insects, which help disperse spores. The glow of bioluminescent life is rare, but in the jungle, it's more common than elsewhere. The darkness provides a canvas, and the glow becomes a signal, a beacon, a form of communication in a world without light. The glow is otherworldly. It feels like something from a fairy tale, but it's real, and it's just another example of the jungle's endless creativity. The calls of frogs in the darkness. At night, the jungle echoes with the calls of frogs. The calls of frogs in the darkness are deafening. Each species has its own call. Some croak, some chirp, and some sound like bells or whistles. The chorus is complex, layers of sound overlapping. It's disorienting and beautiful. Frogs call to attract mates. Males advertise their fitness, their territory, and their availability. Females listen, choosing the best mate based on the call. The calls of frogs in the darkness also serve as warnings. Some frogs call to mark territory, declaring that the area is occupied. Others call to alert nearby frogs to danger. The chorus changes throughout the night. It's loudest just after sunset, and it fades before dawn. The frogs are part of the jungle's nighttime symphony, along with insects, birds, and mammals. Together, they create a soundscape that's unique, immersive, and unforgettable. The calls remind us that the jungle is alive, that even in darkness, life persists, and that communication happens in many forms. The eyes that watch from the shadows. In the jungle, you're always being watched. The eyes that watch from the shadows belong to countless creatures. Predators, observing potential prey, prey monitoring potential threats, and curious animals simply watching. At night, the sensation is stronger. You can't see what's watching, but you can feel it. The jungle is full of eyes. Some glow in reflected light, others remain hidden. The eyes that watch from the shadows are a reminder that humans are not the jungle's masters. We're visitors, intruders, even. The jungle doesn't need us, and its inhabitants are wary. They watch, they assess, and they decide whether to flee, hide, or ignore. The feeling of being watched is primal. It taps into ancient instincts, the fear of predators, the awareness of being prey. In the jungle, those instincts resurface, and we remember that we're part of the web, not separate from it. The eyes watch, and they remind us of our place. The daytime heat and restless insects. When the sun rises, the jungle heats up. The daytime heat and restless insects define the midday hours. Temperatures soar. The humidity becomes oppressive, and insects swarm. Mosquitoes, flies, bees, all active, all searching for food or mates. The heat slows larger animals. They retreat to the shade, they rest, and they conserve energy. But insects thrive. The heat accelerates their metabolism, and they're everywhere, buzzing, biting, crawling. For humans, the daytime heat and restless insects are challenging. It's uncomfortable, sometimes unbearable. But for the jungle, it's normal. It's the rhythm of life. The heat drives evaporation. It powers photosynthesis, and it keeps the cycle turning. The daytime is when the jungle works. Plants produce energy, pollinators visit flowers, and the ecosystem hums with activity. The heat and insects are not obstacles. They're essential, part of the machinery that keeps the jungle alive, and a reminder that comfort is a human concern. The jungle doesn't care. It simply exists, hot, humid, and teeming with insects. The rhythm of jungle seasons. In temperate regions, seasons are distinct: winter, spring, summer, fall. But in the jungle, the rhythm of jungle seasons is different. There's wet season and dry season, not cold and warm. During the wet season, rain falls daily, sometimes multiple times per day. Rivers swell, the forest floor floods, and growth accelerates. Plants bloom, fruits ripen, and animals breed. During the dry season, rainfall decreases, rivers shrink, and some areas become parched. But the jungle doesn't stop. It adapts. Some trees drop their leaves, conserving water. Animals migrate to areas with more resources, and life slows, but it continues. The rhythm of jungle seasons is subtle. To the untrained eye, the jungle looks the same year-round. But to those who live there, the changes are profound. They dictate behavior, survival, and reproduction. The seasons are not about temperature, they're about water. And in the jungle, water is everything. The blooming of rare flowers. Throughout the jungle, flowers bloom. Some are common, others are rare. The blooming of rare flowers is an event. Some flowers bloom only once every few years, or even decades. They time their blooming carefully to coincide with pollinators, with favorable conditions, and with the best chance of reproduction. Rare flowers are often spectacular, large, colorful, and fragrant. They attract specific pollinators: bees, bats, birds, or beetles. The relationship is often exclusive. The flower depends on the pollinator, and the pollinator depends on the flower. The blooming of rare flowers is also unpredictable. Scientists may search for years to witness it, and when it happens, it's a privilege, a glimpse of something few ever see. These flowers remind us that the jungle still holds mysteries, that not everything is known or documented, and that patience and luck are sometimes required to witness nature's wonders. The rare flowers bloom briefly, and then they're gone, leaving only memory and seed. The corpse flower's strange aroma. Among rare flowers, the corpse flower stands out. The corpse flower's strange aroma is unmistakable. It smells like rotting flesh. The odor is strong, overwhelming, and designed to attract pollinators. The corpse flower, or Amorphophilus titanum, is one of the largest flowers in the world. It can grow over 3 meters tall, and when it blooms, which happens rarely, it creates a spectacle. The smell attracts carrion beetles and flies, insects that normally feed on dead animals. They enter the flower, searching for a place to lay eggs, and in the process, they pollinate. The corpse flower's strange aroma is a clever strategy, but it's also unpleasant. For humans, it's repulsive, but for the flower, it's survival. The corpse flower blooms for only 24 to 48 hours. Then it collapses. The energy required is enormous, and the plant may not bloom again for years. The strange aroma is temporary, but memorable, and it's a reminder that beauty and repulsion are subjective. What disgusts us sustains the flower. The orchids, hidden in the canopy. Orchids are among the most diverse plant families on Earth, and the jungle is their kingdom. The orchids hidden in the canopy are spectacular. They grow as epiphytes, clinging to branches high above the ground. Orchids come in countless forms. Some have flowers the size of a fingernail. Others are as large as a hand. Colors range from white to purple to yellow to spotted and striped. Orchids have evolved complex relationships with pollinators. Some are pollinated by specific bees, others by moths or hummingbirds. The flower shapes are adaptations, designed to accommodate and attract their pollinators. The orchids hidden in the canopy are difficult to see. You have to look up, search, and sometimes climb, but when you find them, they're breathtaking, delicate, intricate, and perfectly adapted to their environment. Orchids are also highly prized. Collectors seek rare species, and illegal trade threatens some populations. Protecting orchids means protecting the jungle and ensuring that these hidden jewels remain where they belong, high in the canopy, blooming in secret. The medicinal plants that heal. The jungle is a pharmacy. The medicinal plants that heal have been used by indigenous peoples for millennia. Plants that treat infections, reduce fever, ease pain, and cure diseases. Modern medicine has learned from the jungle. Quinine, from the bark of the cinchona tree, treats malaria. Aspirin is derived from compounds found in various plants, and countless other drugs have their origins in jungle species. The medicinal plants that heal are still being discovered. Scientists estimate that only a fraction of jungle plants have been studied for medicinal properties, and new compounds are found regularly. But time is running out. As jungles are destroyed, species disappear, and with them, potential cures. Indigenous knowledge is also disappearing. As traditional cultures are lost, the knowledge of which plants heal, how to prepare them, and when to use them. This knowledge is invaluable, and efforts are being made to document it. Before it's too late, the medicinal plants that heal are a gift from the jungle to humanity, and protecting them is protecting our future health. The secret still unknown to science. Despite centuries of study, the jungle still holds secrets. The secrets still unknown to science are vast. New species are discovered every year. Insects, plants, fungi, and even larger animals. In 2020, a new species of river dolphin was identified in the Amazon. Scientists had overlooked it for decades. How many more species are waiting? The secrets extend beyond taxonomy. We don't fully understand how jungle ecosystems function, how species interact, how resilience is maintained, and how disturbances propagate. We're learning, but slowly. The jungle is complex, and studying it is difficult. Access is challenging. Conditions are harsh, and the sheer diversity is overwhelming. The secrets still unknown to science are humbling. They remind us that we don't know everything, that the natural world is more intricate than we imagine, and that there's always more to discover. The secrets are waiting, in the canopy, in the soil, and in the interactions we've yet to observe. The jungle is a frontier, and science is just beginning to explore it. The ancient civilizations, born in jungles. Jungles are not uninhabited. They've been home to humans for thousands of years. The ancient civilizations born in jungles thrived in these environments. The Maya built cities in the rainforests of Central America. The Khmer Empire flourished in the jungles of Cambodia, and countless other cultures developed in the Amazon, the Congo, and Southeast Asia. These civilizations understood the jungle. They knew which plants to eat, how to hunt, and how to manage the forest. They practiced sustainable agriculture, agroforestry, and they lived in harmony with their environment. The ancient civilizations born in jungles left behind monuments, temples, palaces, and cities. Many now overgrown, reclaimed by the forest. The ruins are haunting. They're reminders that even great civilizations are temporary, that the jungle is patient, and that nature always reclaims what was taken. The ancient civilizations also left knowledge, passed down through generations. And today, indigenous peoples still live in jungles, carrying forward the traditions of their ancestors. The jungles are not empty. They're inhabited, and they've been home for millennia. The temples overtaken by roots. In the jungles of Southeast Asia and Central America, temples rise from the forest floor. The temples overtaken by roots are iconic. Massive tree roots grow over stone. They crack walls, they split courtyards, and they envelop sculptures. The temples were built centuries ago by the Maya, the Khmer, and others. They were centers of worship, power, and community. But when the civilizations fell, the jungle moved in. It reclaimed the space, slowly, relentlessly. The temples overtaken by roots are beautiful. The contrast between stone and living wood is striking. The roots twist and turn, creating organic patterns over geometric structures. The temples are also archaeological sites. They hold clues about ancient societies, their beliefs, their practices, and their relationship with the jungle. The roots protect the temples in some ways. They hold stones in place, but they also destroy, slowly prying apart what took decades to build. The temples are a reminder of impermanence, of the jungle's power, and of the fact that nature always wins. In the end, the lost cities, beneath the green. Some ancient cities have been completely swallowed by the jungle. The lost cities beneath the green are legends and sometimes realities. In the Amazon, LIDAR technology has revealed vast networks of settlements, roads, plazas, and earthworks, all hidden beneath the canopy. These cities were home to thousands, perhaps millions, but they were abandoned, and the jungle erased them. In Central America, Mayan cities lay hidden for centuries until archaeologists began to uncover them. And in Southeast Asia, entire temple complexes were lost, overgrown and forgotten. The lost cities beneath the green tell a story of civilizations that rose and fell, of people who adapted to the jungle, and of the forest's ability to reclaim. Finding these cities is challenging. The canopy hides them, and access is difficult, but technology is helping. LIDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and drones. Each discovery rewrites history, revealing that the jungle was more densely populated than we thought, that ancient peoples were more sophisticated, and that the jungle has always been home. The lost cities wait, beneath the green, holding their secrets. The stories of exploration and survival. The jungle has inspired countless stories. The stories of exploration and survival capture the human imagination. Tales of adventurers hacking through dense vegetation, of explorers lost and found, and of survival against the odds. Some stories are true, others are exaggerated, but all reflect the jungle's reputation as a place of danger, of mystery, and of challenge. Explorers in the 19th and 20th centuries ventured into unmapped jungles, seeking resources, knowledge, or fame. Many didn't return. The jungle claimed them, lost to disease, accidents, or simply the overwhelming difficulty of navigation. But some survived. They returned with tales of incredible biodiversity, of indigenous peoples, and of landscapes untouched by modern civilization. The stories of exploration and survival continue today. Researchers venture into remote areas, documenting species, studying ecosystems, and learning from indigenous communities. The jungle is still a frontier, still a place that tests human endurance, and still a source of stories that inspire awe and respect. The myths of jungle spirits. In many cultures, the jungle is home to spirits. The myths of jungle spirits are rich and varied. Some spirits are guardians, protectors of the forest. Others are tricksters, mischievous entities that lead travelers astray. And some are dangerous, malevolent forces that punish those who harm the jungle. These myths serve a purpose. They instill respect for the forest. They discourage exploitation, and they explain the unexplainable. The sounds in the night, the feeling of being watched, the sudden dangers. The myths of jungle spirits are not just stories, they're part of cultural identity. They connect people to the land, and they encode traditional knowledge, which trees are sacred, which animals are protected, and how to live in balance with the forest. Modern science may dismiss spirits, but the myths persist. and they remind us that the jungle is more than just biology. It's spiritual, cultural, and deeply meaningful to those who call it home. The spirits may not be real, but the respect they inspire is the power of indigenous knowledge. Indigenous peoples have lived in jungles for thousands of years. The power of indigenous knowledge is profound. They know which plants are medicinal, which are poisonous, and which are edible. They understand animal behavior, migration patterns, and breeding cycles. They know when to plant, when to harvest, and how to manage resources sustainably. This knowledge is passed down orally, from generation to generation. It's detailed, practical, and adapted to specific environments. The power of indigenous knowledge is increasingly recognized. Scientists collaborate with indigenous communities, learning from them and documenting their knowledge. Indigenous peoples have identified plant species scientists missed. They've shown sustainable hunting and fishing practices, and they've demonstrated how to live in the jungle without destroying it. But indigenous knowledge is threatened as communities are displaced, as languages disappear, and as younger generations move to cities. Preserving this knowledge is urgent. It's not just about science, it's about culture, heritage, and the survival of the people and the jungle they protect. The tribes who call the forest home. In jungles around the world, there are tribes. The tribes who call the forest home have lived there for generations. Some are isolated, having little or no contact with the outside world. Others are integrated into modern society, but they maintain their traditions. These tribes depend on the jungle for food, for shelter, for medicine, and for spiritual connection. The jungle is not a resource to them. It's home, it's family, and it's sacred. The tribes who call the forest home are also guardians. They protect the jungle from outsiders, from loggers, from miners, and from developers. Their presence preserves vast areas of forest. Studies show that indigenous territories have lower deforestation rates than protected areas without indigenous management. The tribes face threats, land grabs, violence, and disease, but many are fighting back, asserting their rights, and demanding recognition. The tribes who call the forest home are not relics of the past. They're living cultures with knowledge, rights, and a future, and they deserve respect, support, and protection. The harmony between people and nature. For indigenous peoples, there's no separation between humans and nature. The harmony between people and nature is a worldview. The jungle is not something to be conquered. It's something to live with, to respect, and to care for. This harmony is practical. Overhunting depletes resources. Overharvesting destroys plants. So, indigenous practices are sustainable. Take only what you need. Rotate hunting grounds. Plant as you harvest. The harmony is also spiritual. Many indigenous cultures believe that animals, plants, and even rivers have spirits. Harming them without reason is disrespectful and can bring consequences. The harmony between people and nature is a lesson. Modern society has lost this connection. We see nature as separate, as something to exploit, and we're paying the price. Environmental degradation, climate change, loss of biodiversity. Indigenous peoples offer a different way, one based on respect, reciprocity, and long-term thinking. Learning from them and supporting their efforts is essential for both the jungle's survival and our own. The art of living with the land. Indigenous peoples have mastered the art of living with the land. They've developed techniques that sustain them without destroying the jungle. Agroforestry, cultivating useful plants within the forest without clear-cutting. Rotational farming, using small plots for a few years, then allowing them to regenerate. Sustainable hunting, taking only mature animals and avoiding breeding seasons. These practices are sophisticated. They're based on centuries of observation and adaptation. and they work. The art of living with the land is not primitive. It's advanced. It requires deep knowledge, careful planning, and discipline. Modern agriculture could learn from these methods. Instead of monocultures and clear cutting, integrate crops with forests. Use natural cycles and work with nature, not against it. The art is being lost as indigenous lands are taken and traditional practices are abandoned, but efforts are underway to document and preserve these techniques for the benefit of everyone and for the future of the jungle. The traditional medicines of the Amazon. The Amazon is especially rich in medicinal plants. The traditional medicines of the Amazon have healed countless people. Shamans and healers know which plants to use, how to prepare them, and how to combine them for different ailments. Some medicines treat physical illness, fevers, infections, wounds. Others treat spiritual ailments, anxiety, depression, and trauma. Ayahuasca, a brew used in ceremonies, contains powerful psychoactive compounds. It's used for healing and spiritual insight. The traditional medicines of the Amazon are gaining attention. Researchers study them, pharmaceutical companies seek patents, and tourists travel to experience them. But there are concerns: exploitation, biopiracy, and cultural appropriation. Indigenous knowledge is being taken without permission or compensation. The traditional medicines belong to the people who discovered them, who've refined them over generations. They should benefit from any commercialization, and their knowledge should be respected. The medicines are powerful, both physically and culturally, and they're a reminder that the Amazon's value extends far beyond timber and land. It's a living pharmacy and a source of healing for the world. The sacred trees of the jungle. In many indigenous cultures, certain trees are sacred. The sacred trees of the jungle are revered, protected, and central to spiritual practices. The capoke tree, or ceiba, is sacred to many Maya groups. It's believed to connect the underworld, the earth, and the heavens. Cutting one is taboo. The Brazil nut tree is sacred to some Amazonian tribes. It provides food, and it's protected. In Southeast Asia, certain fig trees are considered homes for spirits. They're never cut, and offerings are left at their base. The sacred trees of the jungle are often the largest, the oldest, and the most ecologically important. They're keystone species, providing food and habitat for countless animals. The sacredness serves a purpose. It ensures the trees are protected, and with them, the ecosystem. The sacred trees remind us that conservation isn't just scientific, it's cultural and spiritual. Different worldviews can lead to the same outcome, protecting the jungle, and the sacred trees are a bridge between traditional and modern conservation. The threats from modern civilization. Despite their importance, jungles are under threat. The threats from modern civilization are numerous and severe. Logging, mining, agriculture, urban expansion, all are destroying jungles at an alarming rate. Every year, millions of hectares are lost. The threats are driven by economics. Timber is valuable, minerals are profitable, and land for cattle or crops is in demand. Short-term gain is prioritized over long-term sustainability. The threats from modern civilization are also driven by consumption. Demand for beef, for palm oil, for soybeans, for paper, all contribute to deforestation. Consumer choices in developed countries directly impact jungles on the other side of the world. The threats are urgent. At current rates, some jungles could disappear within decades, and with them, countless species, indigenous cultures, and ecosystem services. The threats are not inevitable. They can be stopped through policy, through enforcement, and through changing how we value and use natural resources. But time is running out, and the jungles need protection now. The chainsaws that break the silence. The sound of chainsaws is becoming all too common in jungles. The chainsaws that break the silence signal destruction. Trees that took centuries to grow are felled in minutes. Their wood is valuable, and the demand is high. Logging, both legal and illegal, is a major threat. Some logging is selective, taking only certain trees. This is less destructive, but it still impacts the forest. Other logging is clear-cutting. Entire areas are leveled. The result is catastrophic. The chainsaws that break the silence don't just remove trees, they fragment habitat, they disrupt wildlife, and they expose soil to erosion. The noise frightens animals. The cleared areas become impassable, and the ecosystem is fundamentally altered. Some logging is sustainable. Managed forests can regenerate, but much is not. Illegal logging is rampant, and enforcement is weak. The chainsaws will continue until demand decreases, until regulations are enforced, and until alternative livelihoods are provided. The silence of the jungle should be broken by birdsong, not chainsaws, but that requires action and commitment. The logging that destroys balance. Logging doesn't just remove trees. The logging that destroys balance alters the entire ecosystem. Trees are keystone species. They provide habitat, food, and structure. Remove them, and the system collapses. Animals lose homes. Food chains are disrupted, and soil degrades. The logging also creates access. Roads are cut into previously remote areas, and these roads bring more threats. Hunters, poachers, settlers. The forest becomes fragmented. The logging that destroys balance is often selective. Certain species are targeted. Mahogany, teak, rosewood. These trees are valuable, but they're also important ecologically, and removing them disproportionately harms the forest. Replanting doesn't restore the balance. Plantations are monocultures. They lack diversity, and they don't support the same web of life as natural forests. The logging destroys something irreplaceable. Old growth forests that have evolved over millennia. Once gone, they cannot be recreated, at least not on human timescales. The balance is fragile, and logging is tipping it toward collapse. The fires that burn ancient growth. Fire is a growing threat to jungles. The fires that burn ancient growth are often man-made, set to clear land for agriculture, or escaping from controlled burns. Jungles are not adapted to fire. Unlike some ecosystems, they don't regenerate quickly. Fire kills trees, it destroys soil, and it releases vast amounts of carbon. The fires that burn ancient growth are becoming more frequent. Climate change is making jungles drier, and droughts are more severe. Dry conditions make fires more likely and harder to control. In recent years, massive fires have burned in the Amazon, in Indonesia, and in Australia's rainforests. The images are devastating. Smoke billowing, animals fleeing, and forests reduced to ash. The fires are a feedback loop. Burning jungles releases carbon. That carbon accelerates climate change, which creates conditions for more fires. Breaking the loop requires preventing ignition, enforcing bans on land clearing by fire, and protecting remaining forests. The fires that burn ancient growth must be stopped before it's too late. The species that vanish each year. As jungles are destroyed, species disappear. The species that vanish each year number in the hundreds, perhaps thousands. Many go extinct before they're even discovered. We'll never know they existed. The loss is staggering. Each species is unique, a product of millions of years of evolution, and each plays a role in the ecosystem. The species that vanish each year include plants, animals, fungi, and microbes. Some are charismatic, orangutans, jaguars, poison dart frogs. Their loss is mourned. Others are obscure. Insects, mosses, soil bacteria. Their loss is unnoticed, but no less significant. The vanishing is accelerating. Habitat destruction, climate change, poaching, all contribute, and the rate of extinction is now estimated to be 1,000 times higher than the natural background rate. The species that vanish each year are gone forever. They cannot be brought back, and their loss diminishes the planet. Every extinction is a thread pulled from the web of life, and the web becomes weaker, more fragile, and less able to support us all. The urgency of preservation. Time is running out. The urgency of preservation cannot be overstated. Jungles are disappearing at an alarming rate, and with them, biodiversity, carbon storage, and ecosystem services. Preservation is not just about saving trees, it's about saving ourselves. Jungles regulate climate, produce oxygen, provide water, and offer resources we depend on. The urgency of preservation requires action. Now, expanding protected areas, enforcing laws against illegal logging and poaching, supporting indigenous land rights, and changing consumption patterns. Every hectare of jungle saved is a victory. Every species protected is a step forward, but the challenges are immense. Economic pressures, political will, and public awareness, all are barriers. The urgency of preservation is a call to governments, to corporations, and to individuals. We all have a role, and we all benefit from healthy jungles. The time to act is now, before it's too late, before the jungles are gone, and the damage is irreversible. The global efforts to protect jungles. Around the world, efforts are underway to protect jungles. The global efforts to protect jungles are diverse. Governments are creating protected areas, national parks, reserves, and wildlife sanctuaries. International agreements aim to reduce deforestation. The Paris Agreement, REDD+, and others. NGOs are working on the ground, planting trees, monitoring illegal activity, and supporting local communities. The global efforts also include research. Scientists are documenting biodiversity, studying ecosystem functions, and developing restoration techniques. Education and awareness campaigns are raising public consciousness, showing the value of jungles and the consequences of their loss. The global efforts to protect jungles are encouraging, but they're not enough. Deforestation continues, and funding is limited. More needs to be done. Stronger enforcement, greater investment, and genuine commitment from governments and corporations. The global efforts are a start, but the jungle's survival requires more. It requires a fundamental shift in how we value nature and how we interact with it. The efforts must continue, and they must intensify. The reserves and sanctuaries created. Protected areas are a key strategy for conservation. The reserves and sanctuaries created provide safe havens for wildlife, and they preserve ecosystems. National parks, wildlife refuges, biosphere reserves. Each has a role. Some prohibit human activity entirely. Others allow sustainable use. The reserves and sanctuaries created vary in size. Some are small, protecting a specific habitat or species. Others are vast, covering millions of hectares. Effective protection requires more than just declaring an area protected. It requires management, enforcement, and funding. Rangers patrol, monitoring for illegal activity. Scientists study the ecosystems, and communities are engaged. The reserves and sanctuaries face challenges: encroachment, poaching, and inadequate resources. But they're essential. Studies show that protected areas significantly reduce deforestation, and they maintain biodiversity. The reserves and sanctuaries created are not just for wildlife, they're for us. They provide clean air, water, and inspiration, and they ensure that future generations can experience the jungle's wonder. The protected areas are beacons, showing what's possible and what must be preserved. The scientists studying canopy life. The jungle canopy remains one of the least explored environments on Earth. The scientists studying canopy life are pioneers. They climb trees, erect walkways, and use cranes and platforms, all to access the treetops. Canopy research has revealed incredible diversity. New species of insects, frogs, birds, and even mammals, found nowhere else. The scientists studying canopy life are uncovering interactions, pollination networks, predator-prey dynamics, and nutrient cycling. The canopy is where most of the jungle's productivity occurs, and understanding it is crucial. New technologies are helping. Drones capture images from above, sensors monitor temperature and humidity, and DNA sampling reveals hidden diversity. The scientists are driven by curiosity and by urgency. The canopy is threatened, and documenting it before it's lost is a race against time. The scientists studying canopy life are expanding our knowledge and inspiring conservation efforts. Their work shows that the jungle is even more complex than we thought and more valuable. The canopy is the frontier, and science is just beginning to explore it. The drones that map hidden worlds. Technology is revolutionizing jungle research. The drones that map hidden worlds provide new perspectives. They fly above the canopy, capturing high-resolution images and mapping terrain. Drones equipped with LiDAR can penetrate the canopy, revealing the forest floor beneath. This has led to the discovery of archaeological sites hidden beneath vegetation and detailed maps of forest structure. The drones that map hidden worlds also monitor deforestation. They can cover large areas quickly, detecting illegal logging and tracking changes over time. Drones are also used for wildlife monitoring. Thermal cameras detect animals, even in dense vegetation, and aerial surveys count populations. The technology is becoming more accessible, and conservation organizations are using drones increasingly. The drones that map hidden worlds are a tool, but they're not a solution. They provide data, but action is still required. The drones show us what's happening. Now we must respond with protection, enforcement, and restoration. The hidden worlds are being revealed, and we can no longer claim ignorance. The new species discovered each year. Despite centuries of exploration, new species are still being found. The new species discovered each year remind us how much we don't know. In the Amazon alone, dozens of new species are described annually. Insects are the most common, but new mammals, birds, reptiles, and plants are also found. Some discoveries are surprising. Large animals that evaded detection, or plants hiding in plain sight. The new species discovered each year are often from remote areas, difficult to access, and rarely visited. But they're also found in well-studied regions, overlooked, misidentified, or simply missed. Each discovery is significant. It expands our knowledge, and it highlights the jungle's incredible diversity. But each discovery also raises questions. How many more species are there? How many are we losing before we find them? And what are we missing by destroying jungles? The new species are treasures, each one unique, and each one a reminder that the jungle still has much to teach us if we're willing to listen and to protect the beauty that still awaits discovery. The jungle's beauty is not just in what we know. The beauty that still awaits discovery is vast. Hidden waterfalls, undiscovered species, and interactions we've never observed. The beauty is in the mystery, in the unknown, and in the possibility that around every corner there's something new. The beauty that still awaits discovery draws explorers, scientists, photographers, and adventurers. They venture into remote areas, searching, documenting, and marveling. But the beauty is also fragile. As jungles shrink, the opportunities for discovery diminish, and the mysteries are lost before they're revealed. The beauty that still awaits discovery is a promise that the jungle is not fully known, that there are still wonders to see, and that the exploration can continue, but only if we protect what remains. The beauty is waiting, in the canopy, in the soil, and in the interactions between species, and it's waiting for us to discover, to appreciate, and to preserve. the plants with unknown properties. Among the jungle's millions of plant species, many remain unstudied. The plants with unknown properties could hold cures, solutions, and surprises. Scientists have only tested a small fraction of jungle plants for medicinal properties, and even fewer have been studied for other uses, industrial applications, materials, or even food. The plants with unknown properties are a library, unread. Each species contains unique compounds, evolved over millions of years. Some might fight cancer, others might combat drug-resistant bacteria, or provide sustainable materials. But we're losing the library. As jungles are destroyed, species go extinct, and their potential is lost forever. The plants with unknown properties are a reason to preserve jungles, not just for beauty or biodiversity, but for practical, human-centered reasons. They might save lives, improve health, and solve problems we haven't yet imagined. The plants are waiting, but we're running out of time to study them before they're gone, and their secrets with them. The genetic diversity of the tropics. The tropics are the most biodiverse regions on Earth. The genetic diversity of the tropics is unparalleled. Within a single species, there's enormous variation, different populations, different adaptations. This diversity is a resource. It's the raw material for evolution, and it provides resilience. Populations with more genetic diversity can adapt to changes. They're less vulnerable to disease and more likely to survive. The genetic diversity of the tropics is also valuable for agriculture. Crop wild relatives grow in jungles. They contain genes for disease resistance, drought tolerance, and other traits. These genes can be bred into domestic crops, improving yields and resilience. But the genetic diversity is threatened. As habitats are destroyed, populations shrink, and genetic variation is lost. The loss is irreversible, and it diminishes our ability to respond to future challenges. The genetic diversity of the tropics is a treasure, one we're only beginning to appreciate, and one we must protect, for our sake and for the sake of all life. The lessons jungles teach about balance. Jungles are lessons in balance. The lessons jungles teach about balance are profound. They show us that complexity creates stability, that diversity provides resilience, and that everything is connected. In the jungle, nothing is wasted. Every organism has a role, and every role is important. Remove one piece, and the system suffers. The lessons jungles teach about balance apply beyond ecology. They're lessons for societies, for economies, and for how we live. Monocultures are vulnerable. Whether in agriculture or in thought, diversity strengthens, and interconnection matters. The balance is delicate, but it's also robust. As long as the connections remain, as long as the diversity persists, the jungles teach us to think long-term, to consider consequences, and to respect the systems we depend on. The lessons are clear, but we're not always listening. We exploit, we simplify, and we disrupt. The jungle asks us to pause, to observe, and to learn. The lessons are there, waiting for us to understand. The reminder that we are part of it too. We often think of ourselves as separate from nature, but the reminder that we are part of it too is unavoidable in the jungle. We breathe air the jungle produces. We drink water the jungle filters, and we depend on the stability the jungle provides. Humans are not above nature. We're within it, subject to the same laws, the same cycles, and the same fragility. The reminder that we are part of it too is humbling. It asks us to reconsider our place, our impact, and our responsibility. We're not just observers, we're participants, and our actions have consequences. The jungle doesn't need us, but we need the jungle for oxygen, for climate regulation, for medicines, and for the sheer wonder it inspires. The reminder is a call to humility, to respect, and to action. We are part of the web, and the web's health is our health. The jungle reminds us, every breath, every drop of water, and every glimpse of beauty, we are connected, and we must act like it. The cycle that connects all living things. Life is a cycle. The cycle that connects all living things is visible everywhere in the jungle. Birth and death, growth and decay, consumption and decomposition. The cycle is continuous. Energy flows, nutrients cycle, and life perpetuates itself. Plants capture sunlight. Herbivores eat plants. Predators eat herbivores, and decomposers break down the dead, returning nutrients to the soil. The cycle that connects all living things is efficient. In the jungle, nothing is wasted. Every death feeds life. Every ending is a beginning. The cycle includes us. We're born, we live, and we die, and our atoms return to the earth to be used again by plants, by microbes, and by the next generation. The cycle is ancient. It's been running for billions of years, and it will continue long after we're gone. But we can disrupt it by removing too much, by polluting, and by breaking the connections. The cycle that connects all living things is sacred. It's the foundation of existence, and it reminds us that we're temporary, but life itself endures. The cycle continues in the jungle and everywhere, connecting us all. The breath of the planet through green leaves. Every breath you take contains oxygen produced by plants. The breath of the planet through green leaves is literal. Photosynthesis, the process that powers life. Plants absorb carbon dioxide. They use sunlight to split water, and they release oxygen. The jungles, with their vast expanse of leaves, are breathing for us, constantly, tirelessly. Every tree, every fern, every blade of grass, contributing. The breath of the planet through green leaves is a service provided freely, without asking for payment, and yet we're destroying the very forests that sustain us. The breath is also a cycle. We inhale oxygen. We exhale carbon dioxide. Plants take our waste and turn it into life. It's a partnership, one we've taken for granted. The breath of the planet reminds us of our dependence on forests, on jungles, and on the green things that surround us. Protecting jungles is protecting our air, our breath, and our future. In the planet breathes through green leaves, and we must ensure those leaves remain. The eternal life, hidden in the rain. In the jungle, rain is life. The eternal life, hidden in the rain, is the cycle that never ends. Water falls. It nourishes plants. It fills rivers, and it evaporates, rising again to form clouds. The cycle continues. Forever, the rain brings nutrients. It washes the canopy, and it keeps the soil moist. Without rain, the jungle would wither, the trees would die, and the ecosystem would collapse. But the rain keeps coming, day after day, year after year. The eternal life hidden in the rain is also metaphorical. Life persists, despite challenges, despite threats. It adapts, it recovers, and it continues. The rain is a promise that life will go on, that the cycle will continue, and that the jungle, resilient and ancient, will endure as long as we protect it. The rain falls, and with it, life returns, again and again, eternal, unstoppable, and beautiful. The endless mystery of the jungle. We've explored much, but the endless mystery of the jungle remains. There are still species to discover, interactions to understand, and processes to unravel. The jungle is vast, complex, and full of secrets. Some mysteries are scientific. How do certain symbioses work? What drives speciation? And how resilient are these ecosystems to change? Others are experiential. What does it feel like to spend a night alone in the jungle? What would we see if we could watch a single tree for a century? And what voices are we missing? The endless mystery of the jungle is part of its appeal. It's not fully known, not fully tamed, and not fully understood. There's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to wonder about. The mystery is an invitation to explore, to study, and to protect. Because mysteries are only mysteries while they still exist. Destroy the jungle, and the mystery is lost. Forever, the endless mystery calls to us to keep looking, keep questioning, and keep marveling at the green heart of our planet, at the web of life that sustains us, and at the beauty that endures. If we let it,